Hey up everyone, welcome back. Okay, got a box of stuff from Hitchcock, so I've got exhaust pipes and silencers and all sorts of bits and pieces, and of course bits I forgot. So, you know, I could have sworn I ordered a wiring harness. In fact, I think I mentioned it in the last video, and I'm sure I clicked on the things on their online order thing, but anyway, I didn't, so I'm going to have to put in another order. What else do I want to say? Oh yeah, I noticed we've got a bunch more subscribers, so welcome to you and thank you very much. And also I'm getting more comments, which I like. Means you're staying awake if nothing else, so thank you for those. I did have some comments about the tyre, a couple of people obviously with other methods, but as I pointed out, this is the way I do it. And although it's maybe a little bit more elbow grease than using the tyre levers, thing is, I've never trapped an inner tube doing it this way, and I find it a lot less effort doing it like that than doing it with tyre levers and then having to take the tyre back off to repair a tube. So I did the rear wheel, and actually I should have filmed this one. I put it on either a little oil-filled radiator. I put it on that with a blanket over it to keep it warm and got it really hot, and actually it went on quite easily. So anyway, as I said at the beginning, that's just my way of doing it. Right, so what we're going to start with today is back wheel. The bits came for the brake, so we're going to finish putting the brake together and all that sort of stuff and put the back wheel in. And when I do that also, you'll be able to see much more specifically. It's not a very good word, but anyway, you'll be able to see much clearer what the QD wheel is. So let me bring you in and we'll do that. So first thing is, nice new sprocket came. So that's on, bolted on, 8 bolts with sort of nylock type nuts on the back. So that's all together. I put the short spindle in. It goes in from this side and it's pressed in because it's got to hold up the drum on this side where the bearing is. The other thing that came were the springs that I'd forgotten for the brake shoes. So you'll notice there's a long one and a short one. So if you're ordering them, because they didn't come with the brake shoes, don't get 2 short ones or 2 long ones. You want one of each. So first thing is to put that on there. Alright, make sure it spins okay. It's number 1. The other thing that came were the, can you see that? No. Were the 3 nice little screws for that, so I was able to put the cover on. This is the original cover actually. It probably looks perfect from there, and actually it's probably 95%. It's really nice, so I've reused that. Got our brake plate in the drum. You should be able to see here. This is the pivot point. Here's the cam. It's got a big nut on it. The pivot actually threads into the brake plate, and then there's a big nut on the back. And this acts, there's 2 things. One, of course, it stops any of this from moving around, but more than that, it's this size because it's a spacing piece to match up with this one that goes on here. And this spacing piece has a little boss on it which has 2 flats, and the flats go into here. So the first thing we do is we put that on there like so, get our little flats lined up, and then everything goes in like that. We have Snail Cam Adjustment on these, so put that on, and then a big nut. And I've just noticed as I got these out that they cleaned up this nut and the... Hey! See, I can't talk and screw a nut on at the same time. Come on. There you bugger. What was I saying? Oh yeah. They're cleaned up, but they're a bit pitted. Both this one and the one for the top. So that goes on there like that. And we put a washer. And that on there. So that wants to be a thicker washer. I wonder if it's that. Yeah, the threads go all the way in, you dimwit. Bit of bad thread there. Wrong one. This must be for that. Yes, it is. Alright, so we'll tighten that up first anyway. That goes on there like that. Now, as you can see, this is why it's QD. We've got the wheel out, but there's the sprocket on, so the chain could be on, and there's our brake plate on. So next thing to do is to look at the bits that go into the wheel, and then we'll fit the wheel. Now we can offer the wheel up. Now, Enfield's, it says so in the manual, and my Enfield's all at 19-inch wheels front and rear. 325 front, 350 rear. And this one has an 18 by 4. So it's, you can see it's a little tight on the tyre. But anyway, that goes in. And we get that in. There we go. Then all we've got to do is get the little nubs in the hub into their rubber things. Like so. Put them right on. Okay, that's it. So then the next thing that goes in is a little spacing piece here with a felt washer thing in again to keep the grease in, and that comes back to us talking about the thrust having to go all the way through on the inner race of the bearing. So that is pressing on the inner race of the bearing. Now we put the speedometer drive gear on, and of course you get the little two little tangs here into the two little slots there. So an easy way to help you with that is to move the tang around until it's level with the grease nipple, and then you see you can use the grease nipple to get yourself right with the little slot, because you can't see the tang and it'll go straight on. Now the next thing is the big spacing piece that allows the wheel to move out of the way. That again has got one of these bosses with flats to fit into there, like that. Now this can sometimes be a bit tight, so let's see what we can do. One little thing I find is having a bit of wood handy, just to give yourself a spot of help. That goes in like so. Then the other part of your wheel spindle is going to go in there. Get it all lined up, of course. Oh. That must be building up a lot of good karma, you know. Come on now, let me get a light so I can see where that blooming hole is. It's just a bit down. We put that in there like that. Come on, come on. See, things were going so well today, weren't they? You were thinking, look, he isn't struggling at all. There we go. Ah, ah. That goes on. And make sure it goes on the same way as on the other side, so you're getting the notches the same distance from there. Don't put one on this side like that and one on like that. Da, 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 da. Hey! And then we just pop that through. Gently to the other side, where it will thread into the sort of stub axle that the brake is on. So there you go. There's our back wheeling. I'll tighten it up for a minute. All nice and good. And as you saw, you can take it off and leave everything in there. So that's that. Next thing we need to do is put the little brake arm on. Little brake arm. Nice new spring I bought. And look, I've been going mad. Whoop. Nice new brake arm. Alright, let's move on to the next bit. I'm going to spend some time in the corner again. So, I've got three things here. I've got a stupid mistake, a minor mistake, and a lapse of memory. So, I'll show you those three and then I'll go outside and see if I can find a passerby to thrash me with some birch twigs. Number one, and a stupid mistake. Spotted by one person who, oh, I'm sorry, your name escapes me now, but he mentioned it. I put these rear engine mounting plates on the wrong way around. And I should have realised, because the little tabs I mentioned are they're the stops for the centre stand, and the centre stand comes up in the middle of there, so I should have realised that. But what set me thinking incorrectly was this piece, this sort of big thick washer piece that's put on there to give us more meat for the footrest hexagon bolt to go through. I'd looked at that and I thought, well, they've got to go on that way so that I have a flat back to go up against the engine for these two mountings here, the 1/2 inch one and the 5/16 one. But of course the actual cases don't come right across here. These go underneath the cases, so they will go in on the inside. So that should be on like that. So let me put them on the right way around, and obviously we don't have many Royal Enfield buffs watching the videos, so there we go. Let's move on to number two. Here's the second thing, the minor mistake. I said the cables came out through a hole in the mounting here, in the what would be a casket, and I pointed to that one. Well, it's not that one, it's this one. That one's for the little trip meter arm to stick out of the speedo. Not exactly earth shattering, but I thought I'd put you right. Third and final thing, the little lapse of memory. Lapse of memory. You remember when we put the brake plate together, I told you that the pivot point here, well no, it's not the pivot point, is it? That's the pivot point. The cam here was on sort of larger holes, slots almost, so that it could move around. Well, what this is for is so you can, or I think it's for, so you can get it adjusted up exactly right. So what you do is when you've got all your brakes put together, let me walk in front of you for a second, you have it loose, and then you put your brake on, nice and tight. So now you know the shoes are exactly right, or as close as they're possibly going to be, to the brake drum. Now you tighten this up. And that takes up any chance of this cam and those brake shoes not exerting a nice even pressure. If it's moved slightly off what you could say is the centre line, that's fine, it's taken up the irregularity. Whereas if it didn't, of course, you might have one shoe touching and the other one touching not as much. This way you can even it out. When these two sides are set up like that, this is a really good front brake. Okay, so that's that. So that was it. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. This is truth in broadcasting. So now, let's get on and try and do something right. Next thing we're going to fit is the speedometer. First thing you'll notice is the size of it. I don't remember seeing one this big at home. Maybe I'm wrong. It's a long time ago. But anyway, this is the one that was in it, and an interesting thing about it was that it's held on with springs. The springs go on there and then hook into two little holes, what's this, one on either side, drilled into the sort of nacelle. Now, you'll notice a few little white bits in here. Some wordage had come off the inside of the dial, I don't know what it is, and I really don't want to try and take this apart. I'm not putting together here some concourse condition bike for a customer. It's just a project for YouTube and to put together a tidy bike from stuff I had. So another thing with that is the bezel. I put some soft sort of cream type chrome cleaner on, gave it a rub, and when I rubbed the cleaner off I was down to the copper. So I don't know whether it was only nickel plated and it was poor quality nickel, but whatever, it came off. And again, I didn't really want to try taking this bezel off. I don't want to damage this clock. It's good enough. I mean, for all I know, actually it might not work. I haven't even tried winding it up yet, but we're going to fit it and keep our fingers crossed. So let's see about doing that. Now, first thing that goes in is this little rubber strip, which fortunately was very well preserved. Put the joint there, and you won't see it underneath the steering damper handle. Then let's get this little arm for the whatchamacallit, through, there it goes. And that goes on there like that. Now all we've got to do is fathom out how these little springs go in. And they've got two slightly different, oh, I can't see a thing up there. I'm going to go out of view in a moment. I'll come back to you, don't worry. That, by the way, is the lift table, not my knees. Hang on, let me see that move you around. Alright, I don't know exactly how much you can see there and whether I'll be sticking your head in the way, but there's a little hole there and another one over there, and I think that's where these springs go. So this is going to be good, isn't it? It's going to be one of those even I can't see. Maybe I should have put the springs in before I, oh no, there we go. There's one in. Let me get a little dinky pair of pliers, pair of nodal knees pliers, that's what I need. Where's the hole gone? I've lost the hole. Oh, there it is. The light's shining on it, I can't see it. That comes down. Whoop. Oh, come on. Oh, look you, I've been looking like enough of a prat recently. Let's do something right. Get in that hole. There it is. Alright, that's one. You can see it in there. So let's see if I can do the other one. This one's no better. I'll put it in from the inside. I was going to put these springs on before I put the clock in, but then I thought they'd probably fall off while I was fiddling the thing through that hole. There we are, that one went on reasonably easily. Well, that one went in a lot easier. Oh, I think I knocked the camera, so don't worry, that wasn't you wobbling about, that was us. And there we are. My God, we got it in. Alright, onwards and upwards. Next we've got the headlamp, which has got a few bits to it, because you'll notice to start with, it's got a bloody big hole in it. Well, the big hole is for this to go on. It's, I don't know whether it's a Lucas, I guess it's a Y-Pack helmet. Headlamp, might not be Y-Pack, I don't know. Come on, somebody put me a comment down and tell me. So anyway, this piece gets screwed onto here. 1, 2, 3 little screw holes. And into this go the light switch, which was in pretty good condition. Everything feels good. And the ammeter. Now the ammeter is a Lucas one. The one thing you should bear in mind about the ammeters is that they're held on with little tabs. You push it through and then you fold the tabs over and it holds it. So consequently, there's a limited life to these things. If you take them in and out, eventually those tabs snap off and then you're a bit stumped. So what we're going to do is think which way this goes. Okay, that goes on like that. So we want that to go in that way. There are little sort of cutouts. I never know when I'm in camera here. There are little cutouts for this to fit into. So the little tabs go into those cutouts. And this is it, you see it. When you take it apart, you're trying to bend these as little as possible so that you don't overstress them, but you've got to bend them back enough to be able to get them back through these holes. So it can be a little fiddly. There's 2 of them gone in. We get a little screwdriver thing. Little screwy driver thing. It's okay, let's try that. It's not actually a screwdriver. Oh, it might help if I take my glasses off, then I can see close up. Goes the third one. And there goes the fourth one. Then when that's in, you turn it over and you need a different little screwy driver. God, I'm very well prepared today, aren't I? That might work. Either that or I'll stab myself in the finger. And then when you've got it in, you see you've got to bend the little tabs back. Like that. And there it is on. So that's going to go on there like that. Okay. Now the switch has two cutouts there and there. And you'll see there are two tabs there. So again, it's another fiddly little bit. But they go in, round, come on now. Probably just paint. As I've mentioned before, it's oh, hang on a minute, there's a little just opposite the two tabs. There's also, oh no, that little cutout is for the spring that holds it in, Michael. It's got nothing to do with getting this in. Wrong again. As the saying goes, it's not very often you're right, but you're wrong again. It's got there it goes. It's one of those things that there's 100 ways you can't get it in and one that you can. Come on now, there isn't that much paint on it. God. Shoot, does not want to go in. Where have we heard that before? Oh, this is getting ridiculous. Damn things come apart easily enough. Yeah, we're going to have to do some little easing there. So let me switch you off again and I'll ease this out and see if we can't get it to fit. Right, so I've got it on. Little pushing and pulling. So the next thing is to put this spring clip on. You put it on so that you're squishing it when you put the top and bottom into the grooves. So you put them on. That. It's another one of those things which is a bit fiddly. Makes you wonder if the person who thought of this way of fastening it in ever had to actually put one on. You can imagine him at his drawing board thinking, oh, I know, we'll just make this little spring clip thing that goes into a groove and be so easy. Yeah. Get that into there. And we've got to get that down. Groove on that side. And that one down into the groove on that side. And once they each clip in, then that's held in place. As I say, that goes into that hole. So the next thing, we won't put this on because I want to be able to poke all the holes through, put the wires on and then screw it onto there. But we will put the headlamp shell on. So the headlamp goes on easily enough. It's tapped 5/16 British Standard cycle, and you have a couple of little spacing pieces on both sides. So that goes in there like that. Make sure the big hole goes to the top. That screws on. Then we have a bolt and another little spacing piece. It's through there. That. Then do we have oh, that's the little 5/16 heads. Da 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 da. There it is. And that just gets tightened up. And we won't tighten it completely because we're going to be swiveling this to get wires in and things of that sort. But there we go. Headlamp. Alright, that's enough for today. So I'm going to head out and you can all go and enjoy yourselves.